Hello everyone, and this is the second part of renovation of my home studio. In this video I'm gonna talk about the space where I'm filming my videos, what equipment I'm using and what changed. This is what my previous place looked like, and this is how it looks now. The main changes are hidden in the layout of the room and the location of the equipment itself. It used to be a cut room with beautiful view on sunset, but there was no place at all to install the equipment. For example, a tripod is just rested against the wall. Now I have a standard room where I can set up the equipment the way I want it. First we moved everything from one room to another: table, a few lights and C-stands. At the end of the day we moved the metal shelving. The next day I set about organizing the new space. First I moved the table to the place I needed, leaving a little space behind me. In this case I will be able to get the depth in the frame itself. After that I set the rim light to its new location. I've used it in that position before and I like it. Next I took up from metal shelving. After removing everything that could fall and break from it, I decided to install it along the wall, next to the power outlet, so that I could connect the equipment while hiding all the power cables. Next I decided to free up my table, temporarily shifting everything to another place, and then I took out and installed another C-stand, which I will use for the main light source. And for it I will use Aperture 300X. It's way too powerful for my purposes and the room itself, so something in the range from 100 up to 200 watts can be suitable for such conditions. I install the power supply under the handle so that it will be convenient to move the light if necessary. One guy told me that this model has some problems with the DMX cable, which can cause it to fall. Write in the comments if you have come across something like that. It will be interesting for me to read. When the device is assembled, it can be installed in place. I also decided to use a small 60cm softbox due to its compact size, despite the fact that in this case I would need to use a fill light to soften the shadows on the face. After assembly, I also decided to install a grid, so that as little light as possible from the device hits the wall. And now I can install the softbox itself. I remove the cover and set it into place. It's also necessary to direct the light in the direction we need. Let's see what the room looked like before starting work, and this is how it began to look after a little organization of workspace. I move on and start installing my microphone, with help of which I record sound for my videos. Well, the main work on the organization has been completed. It remains to clear everything up. For example, lay all the cables so that they don't interface during work and it's safe to move around. Place the bag for carrying the light inside the shelf. Tighten all the wires so that they don't hang down and get into the frame during shooting. For this I used cable ties. In the end, I only had to figure out a place where I could charge all my equipment. Previously, I used a wall for this purpose, where I equipped a special place to charge my devices. But as you know from the first part of my home studio, this wall began to perform a completely different function. So, I decided to use these metal shelves as a place to charge my devices. This is what the final result will look like, but first I need to make several holes for the power cables. For this I laid out a garbage bag and drilled 3 holes, one common, one for powering the Google Mini and the third for charging my equipment. I sanded the holes so that it was safe to pass the wires through them. Then I connect them and stretch them using zip ties so that they remained in place. They were also fairly easy to attach from inside. After placing all the equipment and looking at the result, I realized that it was necessary to close the edges of the holes, so that the cables would not be rubbed during use. For it I decided to use a tape, closing the entire hole in a circle. Once again, after placing all the equipment, I decided to run cables for charging V-mount and NPF batteries. I also ran them from below, using several zip ties, and brought them to the back wall of the metal shelves for easy connection. Let's look at the final result in my studio. That's all for today. Subscribe to the channel and write your opinion in the comments. What do you think about my home studio for filming videos? See you in the next one. Bye!